What's up, DBs? D Magic here, former Division 1 cornerback from the University of Hawaii. Learned all my technique from Durante Jones, current DB coach for the Minnesota Vikings. I wanted to bring you guys a coaching point video. It's going to be camp season here pretty soon after the winter, and you guys are going to be doing a lot of these camps to try to earn scholarships. Now, this is the All American Bowl from 2022, I believe, and you guys may think that these guys have it all figured out because they're in this game, but a lot of these guys are here off of pure talent. There's a lot of technique that these guys could use, and if I can teach you guys technique based off these guys, hopefully it builds your confidence, and you guys are able to make more plays at whatever camp you go to. First thing I see, obviously, you don't want to be on your heels here. Like I said, these guys aren't perfect, so we're just gonna go through these slowly and then just talk about quick coaching points here. Now, we're outside leverage. If you're in the slot, usually you want to be outside leverage, but you want to try to collision at the break point as much as possible. If you're in the slot and you just let guys run, um, they're going to make you look silly. All right, so usually you want to be in an outside scooch and you want to start stepping laterally towards the stem. So once you see him start to stem off, step laterally, and then you can collision at the break point. If this were to be, if you collision, then you should naturally stay on this high shoulder here. Again, you can't let guys just run freely. I don't know if this is a linebacker versus a receiver, but that's just too easy. Get hands on, especially if you guys are wearing pads. All right, so right off the back, okay, this looks worse than it is, but the only reason why this looks bad is because we're off balance, and I barely saw the beginning. I can tell that we crossed over. This is why you don't cross over, right? So again, I haven't even seen the beginning, but I'll tell you right away, based on how he fell, he crossed over. So crossing over, all right? So when you're in press, you want to stay square, all right, which means you're keeping your chest to his chest, but there's two different ways to stay square. You can cross over and stay square, or you can keep your feet apart, step and replace, kick, step, shuffle to stay square. And the reason why you want to shuffle is because it keeps you on balance. So instead of if we're trying to move this way, instead of moving this leg and crossing it with this one, you want to move this one first, and then you want to move this one. So if this one shuffles 6 inches, you move this one 6 inches. It's like basketball, all right? If you're trying to stay in front of someone, the way you get crossed and you fall is when you literally cross your feet, all right? So yes, he's technically square, being chest to chest, but look at his feet. All right, we need to be in a basketball stance, so this foot should be here. This foot should be here. So that when he redirects, we have a chance and we're not completely out of the play here. So bad feet. Let's go to the next rep. I'm going to skip through the running back stuff. I don't really like looking at that too much. All right, so we're in the slot. And again, I would suggest being outside leverage. It looks like we're inside shade right here. And you want to play the percentages, guys. Like when you're in the slot, the outbreaking routes or the outside release routes are going to be the most explosive. So the 10 and out, the out and up, the slot fade, the corner. The explosives from the slot only really come from the post as far as inside breaking routes. And again, if we're able to collision that shoulder, or if we're able to stay high shoulder, we can play the post. I don't really get why guys are ever inside leverage because guys can just run away from you if they run an outside breaking route. But let's see how he does here. He does a good job of playing this, but I think we can still play this from outside leverage. Good job, though. It's all about putting yourself in an advantageous position. Again, we cross over here. What I will say is that, and we get a hold here. So regardless of how this rep kind of plays out, I think that we could do good catch. All right, so let's get into the technique, okay? What would I do differently? All right, so if you're going to give ground, give ground. If you're going to stay in front, then get hands on. That's usually the rule. So you see how he's not really giving ground. He's kind of holding his ground, but he's not shooting. All right. So as soon as we get this move right here, we should be stepping and shooting with this offhand here. But I think the reason why he doesn't is because look at his base. Look how wide this base is. All right. So when your base is like this, you have no choice but to open and run whenever the receiver gets to that outside shoulder, because we're not in a position to throw the offhand. It's way too far, or the inside hand is way too far. And if we throw this inside hand with this base, we're going to get cooked. All right. So the one coaching point, if we're in this camp, and I could give you one coaching point, if this is you, is your base, man. You gotta have a tighter base so we can actually step and replace, kick, step, slide, shuffle with them. Again, if he gets that outside shoulder, we have no choice but to open and cross over here. Next rep. And again, guys, these are like 4-star, 5 stars, I assume. And when you go to these, like you're pretty much making these off of just your raw talent. Like it's rare that you're gonna have a high school coach really be able to teach you something unless you're in like a place like Florida where you got tons of guys in the league all around you. But more times than not, you know, a DB coach isn't really gonna be able to critique this, and you're usually making plays off of your God-given ability anyway. All right, good move at the line of scrimmage. Again, let's see how this shapes out. All right. So the receiver, we win here. Good job. All right. So there's always something you could coach. He juked us for a little bit. One thing I would say is he probably doesn't have his eyes where they need to be, meaning they should be on the inside hip. So what I tell my guys is, and he's really, okay, yeah, he's close to the slot too. I like his leverage. He's outside leverage. Good job. But you want to key on the hip, and a lot of times you're going to have the receiver's going to have a logo. So this is perfect. So what I tell my guys is like, keep the logo in your frame. That's all you really need to do. Keep the logo in your frame, because if we can follow this Adidas logo, it'll lead us to where he's releasing to. So notice, let's watch the hip, or let's watch the head movement, shoulder movement, hand movement. All right. Wop, 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 wop. He gives us all that. See how much that moved? But let's see how much this Adidas sign actually moves. All right. He's giving all that, right? The Adidas sign doesn't go anywhere. One more time. The Adidas sign stays in the same place. So if we're patient and we're focusing on that, we're not really reacting until it fully moves in this direction. All right. So that's one thing that'll help you with your eyes and press, is keeping your eyes on that inside hip. And a lot of times there's a Nike sign, Adidas sign, whatever sign there to help you kind of stay on track. Let's do one more. Inside leverage here. All right, we give up the leverage. Again, I'm not really sure what we're looking at. Boom, gives him a stem here. He probably wins. Yeah, he wins this rep. Never give up, what I would say. Never, ever, ever give up, especially when you're trying to impress a coach. A coach never wants a quitter, and you never know. This ball could be extremely underthrown and you still make a play on it. Never give up if you're trying to earn a scholarship. Never, ever, ever. All right. So we're going to give the coaching point. Let me see if I can see what happens here. This isn't really horrible. All I would say is that when you take this step, you want to throw something like, he's square. So this is, I don't know if this is a reaction or if this is a technique. So this could be a pure step where you're stepping a small step with the outside here. But again, if we're watching that inside hip, you see how that inside hip is pointed this way. All right. So the frame is still here, which is what he wants to sell. He wants to sell this way if your eyes are up, which they probably are. But look where this inside hip right here is already pointed to. So if we keep our eyes there, when we step, all right, we shouldn't take this second step here and now we're leaning, all right? Now we're leaning and you can get hands. And now we can't really get hands on. Now we have no choice but to open up, all right? So if you take a pure step, keep your eyes here, you'll see that this is lean, or the inside hip's going this way. Now we can kick step, throw the offhand, catch them square in the chest here. So that is my coaching points. Again, they're really quick. So if you're in a camp like this, hopefully, you can kind of self-correct yourself. You don't have time to, watch film. But if you guys want to learn press techniques to help you be successful at these camps, the link will be in the description. I have 3 different press drills you can do, leverage tips with film examples, NFL examples to help take your game to the next level. Help you go earn a scholarship at the next camp. Appreciate your time. I'll be dropping more of these. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, please. Appreciate you. Peace.